Hello friends, this is the third lecture of my lecture series on colligative properties. Today we will discuss in detail about elevation in boiling point. Today's lecture, first we will define boiling and boiling point. Then we will see what is the meaning of elevation in boiling point. After that, we will derive a very important relation delta TB is equal to KB into M, where M is molality. Then we will see how elevation in boiling point can be used to determine molecular weight of non-volatile solute. Then experimental determination of elevation in boiling point. Now, colligative properties, as we know from our previous lectures, is that property which depends upon number of particles of solute present and is independent of the nature of solute dissolved. We have already explained in detail about colligative properties in our previous lectures. So we have already discussed lowering of vapor pressure, osmotic pressure. Today we will discuss in detail about elevation in boiling point of solvent if we add non-volatile solute to it. So for these two colligative properties, I have kept the link in the description of the video. You can check it there. So before starting the topic, let us first understand about boiling and boiling point. So consider a beaker containing some liquid at any temperature T, suppose it is room temperature. So now we know that the molecules of the liquid that are lying at the surface, they have tendency to escape and to go into the vapor state. So mean the molecules that are lying on the surface, they have tendency to escape from this liquid state and go in the vapor state. So they exert some vapor pressure. Now what happens when we start heating the liquid? So what will happen? First of all, the number of molecules that are escaping from the surface, they will increase. So vapor pressure will increase. So when we keep on heating the beaker, a stage will come when the evaporation or will not only take place at the surface, but the molecules in the bulk, they will also start vaporizing, which is indicated by the formation of bubbles in the solution or in the liquid. This state is called boiling of liquid. When the vaporization of molecules start from the bulk but and not only from the surface, which is indicated by the formation of bubbles in the liquid. This state we will call it the liquid is boiling. This state, the evaporation of molecules only from the surface, it is called evaporation. So for water, the temperature at which water boils is 100 degrees Celsius at atmospheric pressure. Obviously, when we heat the liquid, the temperature will increase. So when we heat water up to 100 degrees C, what happens? It starts boiling. Now, if we give more heat, the temperature will not increase. It will remain constant at 100 degrees C. What will happen? The heat that we are giving, it will be used to converting the molecules of water from liquid state to vapor state, but the temperature will remain constant at 100 degrees Celsius. So if we talk this about in terms of vapor pressure, so boiling point is a temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid it becomes equal to the atmospheric pressure and liquid changes into vapor. So at boiling, the vapor pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure or external pressure. So the temperature at which this occurs is called boiling point. For water, this temperature is 100 degrees C at atmospheric pressure. We have to mention the pressure because boiling point depends upon external pressure. If we decrease the external pressure, boiling point will decrease, and if we increase the external pressure, boiling point will increase. So far we know that evaporation, when evaporation occurs, vapor pressure is less than atmospheric pressure. But when boiling starts, vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure and it is indicated by the formation of bubbles in the liquid. So this simple experiment you can also do at your home. Take any vessel, take some water into it and put it on a gas stove. You will have, but you will see that after some time bubbles will start forming in the liquid. So at that stage we will call that water is boiling. So now we will understand about elevation in boiling point of a solution. Means when we add a non-volatile solute to a solution, its boiling point increases. We will explain this. First, we should know about the boiling point of solution. As the solute that we have added is non-volatile, it will not uh, form vapor. So the boiling point of solution is the temperature at which the solvent boils. Okay, so what will happen? This statement says that if we add a non-volatile solute to a solvent, then its boiling point will increase. So, so far from our previous lectures, we know that vapor pressure of solution containing a non-volatile solute is less than vapor pressure of pure solvent at any given temperature. Now let us again revise it. Suppose it is a pure solvent and this is a solution prepared by adding non-volatile solute to it. When we have a pure solvent, a large number of solvent molecules, they goes into vapor state and exert vapor pressure. But when non-volatile solutes are present in the solution, the tendency of the solvent molecules to go into vapor state it decreases. As the number of solvent molecules in vapor state will decrease, they will exert less vapor pressure. Now vapor pressure curve of solution will be lower than that of pure solvent. Let us try to understand it by this diagram. Now, this blue line, it shows the vapor pressure curve of pure water. We can also take any liquid, but in this example, we are specifically talking about water. This blue line is the vapor pressure curve of pure water. This curve, this graph shows that as we increase the temperature, the vapor pressure of water increases. You can see from this graph, this is a increasing graph. At this temperature, vapor pressure is this much. At this temperature, vapor pressure is this much and this value is higher than this. This is the vapor pressure at this temperature. This is the vapor pressure. This value is higher than this. So this graph vapor pressure curve of pure water shows that as we increase the temperature, its vapor pressure will increase. Now let us see what happens if we add a non-volatile solute to the solvent. Now we all know that if we add a non-volatile solute, then its vapor pressure decreases. So the vapor pressure curve of a solvent in solution will be lower than the vapor pressure curve of pure water, and at all temperatures vapor pressure of solvent in solution will be less than the vapor pressure of pure solvent. You can check at any temperature, check it here. At this temperature vapor pressure of solvent in solution is this much, and vapor pressure of pure water is this much. This value is less than this. So that's why the vapor pressure of curve of solution is below the vapor pressure curve of pure solvent. Now we know that what, what is boiling point. Boiling point is the temperature at which the vapor pressure of the liquid it becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. Suppose this white line corresponds to the atmospheric pressure. Now let us see at this temperature the vapor pressure of pure water is this much. It is less than atmospheric pressure. So as we keep on increasing the temperature of water, a particular temperature will reach when its vapor pressure will become equal to atmospheric pressure. That state is called boiling. So this temperature corresponds to the boiling point of pure solvent. For water, it is 100 degree Celsius. Now let us check at this temperature what is the vapor pressure of solution. At this temperature, vapor pressure of solution is this much, which is less than atmospheric pressure. Means at this temperature the solvent in solution will not boil, so we have to give more heat so that its vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. We have to heat it further. Suppose we have heated it up to this point. Now at this point let us see what is the vapor pressure of the solvent in solution. It is touching this curve here. This corresponds to atmospheric pressure. So this is the boiling point of solvent in solution, which is prepared by the addition of non-volatile solute to it. So you can check this value is higher than the boiling point of pure solvent. Suppose T naught is the boiling point of pure solvent. Let us denote this point as T naught. And Ts is the boiling point of the solvent in solution. Let us denote this Ts. So this difference Ts minus T naught is called elevation in boiling point. This is the elevation. This difference in the temperature is the elevation in boiling point of solvent in solution. Now boiling point of solution, which is prepared by addition of non-volatile solute to it, will always be higher than the pure solvent. We have shown from this curve. This curve is called vapor pressure curve. Now we will see a relation between elevation in boiling point and concentration of the solution. We will derive a very important relation. So delta TB is elevation in boiling point. Suppose M is molality. We have a relation delta TB is equal to mKb. More precisely, it is written as delta TB is equal to Kb into M. Today, we will derive this relation. So, in order to derive this relation, we will take the help of Clausius-Clapeyron equation, which is a very important relation. This equation it is used to show the variation of vapor pressure with the temperature. That how vapor pressure varies with the temperature. This is a mathematical expression which is given by natural log of P2 divided by P1, where P2 and P1 are vapor pressure, delta H. Delta H is the enthalpy of transformation. Transformation means in boiling, water has been changed from liquid to vapors. So we can call it enthalpy of vaporization divided by R. R is gas constant. 1 by T1. T1 is the temperature at which the vapor pressure is P1 and T2 is the temperature at which the vapor pressure is P2. So if we know the vapor pressure P1 at a particular temperature T1 and know the value of delta H, we can calculate the vapor pressure at any temperature using this relation. So as already explained, P1 is vapor pressure at temperature T1, P2 is vapor pressure at temperature T2, and delta H is also called molar latent. It is also called latent heat of transition. Now let us again see this diagram. Suppose, and one thing we have to keep in mind that these 2 points, they should lie on the same curve. We can apply this relation to G and F, but because both these points lie on a particular curve, but we cannot apply this relation on G and EY because they are lying on the different curve. So in order to apply this relation, the 2 points, they should lie on a same vapor pressure curve. The second thing, now from Clausius-Clapeyron equation, we can get delta TB. Okay, from this, when we simplify this, we will get delta TB. But we also need molality. So for that, we will take the help of Raoult's law. Now, as a pair, we just define a phase change. Phase change, whenever we have to do a phase change, we have to supply some heat. Suppose phase means liquid is a different phase, vapors are different phase. Suppose we have to convert any solvent from liquid to vapor state, then we have to apply some heat. So such heat change, they are termed as latent heat. If it is boiling, it is called latent heat of vaporization. If it is melting, it is called latent heat of fusion, etc. Now consider this vapor pressure curve for pure water and solution. Now we will apply the Clausius-Clapeyron equation to solution vapor equilibrium. So at this curve, above this curve, the liquid will exist as vapors. Below this curve, it will exist as liquid. So at this curve, it exists as both liquid as well as vapor. So we call it liquid vapor equilibrium. So we will apply to solve solution vapor equilibrium, and the solution curve is red one. So we will apply this, and we will apply the Clausius-Clapeyron equation to solution vapor equilibrium. So by applying, suppose we apply the Clausius-Clapeyron equation at point G and at point F. Term point G as 1 and point F as 2. Okay, now at point 1 G, vapor pressure is PS, temperature is T naught. Okay, at point 2, vapor pressure is T naught and temperature is Ts. Now let us apply it. So what was that equation? Ln P2 by P1. So ln P2 is P naught, P1 is PS. So ln P naught by PS is equal to delta HV. Delta HV is the latent heat of vaporization of 1 mole of the solvent from solution. It is molar latent heat by R is equal to 1 by T1. T1 is at this point 1 temperature is T0. So it is 1 by T0 minus 1 by T2. At point 2 the temperature is Ts. So it is 1 by T naught minus 1 by Ts. Now we will simplify this term in brackets. So we can write ln P naught by Ps is equal to delta Hv by R T naught Ts in numerator Ts minus T naught. So by simplifying this term, it gives us Ts minus T naught divided by T naught Ts. Now what is the Ts minus T naught? Ts minus T naught is delta Tb, elevation in boiling point. So putting the value of Ts minus T naught, we get the equation natural log P naught by Ps is equal to delta Hv by R delta Tb divided by T naught multiplied by Ts. Now we all know that the colligative properties they apply only to dilute solutions. Now if the solution is dilute, this point will not be very far away from T naught. It will be close to T naught. So Ts will approximately equal to T naught. So we can substitute Ts by T naught in equation 2 and we will get ln P naught by Ps is equal to approximately equal to delta Hv by R multiplied by delta Tb by T naught square. We have put Ts is equal to T naught as for the dilute solution. They have almost similar value. So now so far we have introduced delta Tb in our relation. Now we want concentration. So concentration will come from Rolle's law. This term will give us concentration. Let us see how. Now, what is Rolle's law? Rolle's law gives us P naught minus Ps by P naught is equal to X2, where P naught is the vapor pressure of pure solvent, Ps is the vapor pressure of solution. So this term, whole term is called relative lowering of vapor pressure. It is equal to the mole fraction of solute. So we can rearrange this equation to P naught by P naught is 1 minus Ps by P naught is equal to X2. Now, or we can write Ps by P naught, taking Ps by P naught to right hand side and X2 to left hand side. Ps by P naught is equal to 1 minus X2. Now taking natural log on both sides, we will get natural log of Ps by P naught is equal to natural log of 1 minus X2. Now you can see that we have involved X2 in relation to ln Ps by P naught. Now ln P naught by Ps taking reciprocal. Here it is Ps by P naught. If we take the reciprocal, what will happen? We will use a negative sign. Ln P naught by Ps is equal to minus natural log of 1 minus x2. Why we have taken its reciprocal? Because we need the value of ln P naught by Ps. Now it is equal to minus natural log of 1 minus x2. Since x2 is very small, why? Because solution is dilute. So we have a from mathematics a expression for natural log of 1 minus x2, which is given by an infinite series natural log of 1 minus x2 is a mathematical relation. If x2 is small, 1 minus natural log of 1 minus x2 can be expanded to minus x2 minus half x2 square minus 1 by 3 x2 cube and so on. But as you know that solution is dilute, x2 is very small, so we can neglect higher terms. x2 square will be even small, x2 cube will be even more small, so we can neglect higher term. So the relation reduces to natural log of 1 minus x2 is approximately equal to minus x2, but we need the value of minus natural log of 1 minus x2, so multiplying both equation by minus, what we get minus natural log of 1 minus x2 is approximately equal to x2. So putting the value of this in this, we get natural log of p naught by ps is equal to x2. Now, remembering the old equation that we have derived in the previous slide, natural log of P naught by Ps is equal to delta HV by R delta TB by T naught square. From this equation, you can see it involves ln P naught by Ps. That's why we have to take reciprocal here. Now, putting the value ln P naught by Ps is equal to x2, we get x2 is equal to delta hv by r delta tv by t naught square, where t naught is the boiling point of pure liquid or pure solvent, or we can rearrange it as we need the value of delta tb. So we can rearrange it to delta tb is equal to r and t naught will go up, r t naught square x2 divided by delta hv. So this expression gives relation of elevation in boiling point to mole fraction of solute. But we can still modify this equation in terms of molality, as we have to derive the relation delta Tb is equal to Kb into m. We have to make this equal to molality. Now let us see how we can do it. Now suppose N2 moles of solute are dissolved in N1 moles of solvent. So mole fraction of solute X2 will be given by number of moles of solute divided by number of moles of solute plus number of moles of solvent equal to N2 divided by N1 plus N2. We all know that solution is very dilute, so N2 is less than N1, so we can neglect N2 from the denominator. So this relation will reduce to X2 is equal to N2 by N1, as we can neglect this N2 from denominator. Why? Because the solution is dilute. Now, next, assume that W2 is the weight of solute which is dissolved in W1 gram of solvent, and M2 and M1 are molecular weight of solute and solvent. So from these assumptions, we can define number of moles of solute is equal to weight of solute W2, because we have taken W2 gram of solute divided by molecular weight of solute, and number of moles of solvent is equal to W1. W1 is weight of solvent divided by M1. M1 is molecular weight of solvent. So putting the value of N2 and N1, this relation becomes X2 is equal to W2 divided by M2 divided by W1 divided by M1. So if we solve it, it becomes W2 multiplied by M1 divided by W1 multiplied by M2. Now putting this value of X2 in equation number 5. Putting this value of x2 in equation number 5, But we get delta TB is equal to RT naught square divided by delta HV, putting the value of x2 W2 M1 divided by W1 M2. So we can rearrange it a little to RT naught square divided by delta HV divided by M1. We have taken this M1 here, okay, multiplied by W2 divided by W1 and M2. Now delta HV divided by M1 will become, now this delta HV divided by M1, it is LV, which is latent heat of vaporization per gram. Now what was delta HV? Delta HV was the molar latent heat, means latent heat for the solvent when we take solvent weight of solvent equal to molecular weight. Now if we divide delta HV by molecular weight, it becomes latent heat of vaporization per gram of solvent. So we can, so this is the equation 6 to delta TB is equal to RT naught square divided by LV into W2 divided by W1 M2, where W2 is weight of solute, W1 is weight of solvent, and M2 is molecular weight of solute. Now, but we require molality. Remembering the formula of molality, molality is given by weight of solute divided by molecular weight of solute. This gives number of moles of solute multiplied by 1000 divided by weight of solvent in grams. We will use this later. Now suppose M is molality of solution, that is M moles of solute are dissolved in 1000 gram of solvent. Now M is equal to W2 by M2 when W1 is 1000 gram, or you can calculate. Now we need the value of W2 divided by W1 M2. We can calculate from the formula of molarity. From this equation, this value becomes W2 divided by M2 into W1. It becomes M by 1000. This 1000 will go in denominator. So putting this value here, we get delta TB is equal to RT naught square by LV. Putting this value is from this relation, this value is M by 1000, or we can write delta TB is equal to RT naught square by 1000 LV into M, which is molality. Now let us concentrate on this term. M is molality, R is gas constant. For a particular solvent, T naught is also constant. 1000 is a number. LV is also a property of solvent. So for a particular solvent, LV is also constant. So as all these terms are constant, this whole term will be a new constant. We will give the name of this constant as KB, where KB is equal to RT naught square divided by 1000 into LV. This is called molar elevation constant, or its another name is ebullioscopic constant. So putting this value here, this relation that we have to prove, delta TB is equal to KB into M. We have proved it, where KB is RT naught square divided by 1000 LV. Now what is KB? What is the meaning of molar elevation constant? We will consider it by putting M is equal to 1. Suppose molality of solution is 1, means 1 mole of solute has been dissolved in 1 liter of solution. If M is 1, delta TB will be equal to KB. So from these two relations, we can define KB So Kb is defined as the delta Tb is elevation in boiling point. Is defined as the elevation in boiling point, but it is conditioned to what? The condition is the molality of the solution has to be equal to 1. So we will define molar elevation constant as elevation in boiling point when molality of solution is unity. This is the definition of Kb. Suppose we have a 1 molar solution of salt or sugar in water, and we note down the elevation in boiling point. So that value will be equal to Kb, molar elevation constant. Now let us see how we can experimentally validate whether this relation that we have derived delta Tb is equal to Kb into m is correct or no. Now according to this relation, theoretically, this relation shows that if we increase the value of molality, delta Tb will increase. Means if more concentrated solution is used, the elevation will be high. So the same has been observed when we carry out the experiment. So how we can carry out the experiment? We can take water and note down its boiling point by some method that we will discuss in our later slides. Now we make two different solutions of sugar in water. One with 5 gram of sugar. Suppose I have taken any abrupt value. The second with 10 gram. Now this solution has higher molality than this. According to this relation, the elevation in boiling point of this solution should be high. So when experimentally it was determined, it was found to be true. So experiment matches with the theoretical relation. That means that this relation is valid. Second, as Kb is constant for a particular solvent, the value of Kb depends upon the nature of solvent. So what we can do, we can check that Kb for a particular solvent is found to be constant experimentally independent of the solute and concentration of the solution. Let us first discuss concentration of the solution. Now again, how we can measure Kb? Kb is the value when concentration of the solution is 1, when molality is 1. So we can prepare these solution, sugar solutions of two different concentration and check delta Tb experimentally. Okay. Now we know we can calculate from these values, we can calculate m. Delta Tb we have noted experimentally. So Kb we can calculate delta Tb divided by m. If for both these experiments Kb comes out to be constant, then we will say our relation is true. That has been observed experimentally that if we take solution of any concentration, Kb remains constant. Second, it is independent of the solute. Suppose one time we have sugar, second time we have urea. Again, measure delta Tb. We can calculate molality. So Kb will be delta Tb by m. If Kb comes out to be same, that means this relation is true. This is how we experimentally validate. So this table shows the value of Kb for some particular solvents. It is just for your information. No need to remember it. For water it is 0.52, for acetone it is 1.72, and for chloroform it is 3.88. So this is just for your information. And another important thing is elevation in boiling point is a colligative property. Why? Because it depends only upon the concentration of the solute. Concentration of the solute means number of solute particles and is independent of the nature of solute. That's why elevation in boiling point is a colligative property. Now, in the next slide, we will see how we can use it to determine molecular weight of non-volatile solute. As we have the formula delta TB is equal to Kb into m and molarity is equal to W2 by M2 multiplied by 1000 by M1. So putting the value of m here, this relation becomes delta TB is equal to Kb into W2 by M2 into 1000 by W1. What we need to calculate? We need to calculate M2. So from this relation, M2 is 1000 kb W2. M2 take M to this side, TB will come this side divided by W1 multiplied by delta TB. Now, if we know W2, how much solute we have taken, if we know W1, how much solvent we have taken, we can measure delta TB experimentally. The value of Kb is known from the table, so we can calculate molecular weight of unknown solute. Now, this method of determination of molecular weight using elevation in boiling point is called ebullioscopic method. Ebullioscopic method means the method which involves determination of molecular weight of non-volatile solute from elevation in boiling point. Next, we will discuss how experimentally this elevation in boiling point is determined. So, to determine elevation in boiling point, what we need to do, we should know the boiling point of pure solvent and that of solution. If you know their boiling points and their difference, it will give us elevation in boiling point. But we have to consider many precautions while noting the boiling point of liquids. First is superheating of the solvent. We should not overheat it above its boiling point. Second, most important precaution is accuracy of measurement of temperature. How accurately we have determined the temperature. So, in order to calculate the accurate measurement of temperature, Beckman thermometer is used, which is shown here. This is Beckman thermometer. It cannot measure absolute temperature, means it cannot tell us that temperature of water is 30 degrees C, but it is used to measure the difference in temperature. So how it, first let us see its composition. It consists of a long capillary tube. This is the capillary tube having mercury bulb at the bottom. We know why we use mercury. We know that as we heat mercury, it expands. Now, this is used to measure small change in temperature with the help of movement of mercury level in this thermometer. With this with this thermometer, we can measure temperature with accuracy of 0.01 degree Celsius. Now, the method that is used to determine the boiling point of solution and solvent and elevation in boiling point is Landsberger method. The experimental setup is shown here. So, this method involves the heating of solvent or solution whose boiling point has to be determined. We don't directly heat it. We pass hot vapors of pure solvent. In this flask, we have pure solvent. We heat it. It vaporizes. Then we pass its vapor from the solution or solvent whose boiling point has to be determined. This method of heating is slow, so it obviates superheating of solvent. So pure solvent whose boiling point has to be determined is taken in this tube D and heated. So as the liquid heats up, a stage comes when temperature of thermometer becomes constant. As I say, as we heat it, its temperature will increase. So at one stage, the temperature will become constant. We all know that at boiling, the temperature remain constant. So we will note that temperature when it becomes constant, it corresponds to boiling point of pure solvent. Now we add some solute into it, some known weight of solute as we have to calculate molality. So these measurements, these are used to note the volume of the solution. We added solute and noted the volume of the solution. So we have now we for molality we need the weight of solvent, but from here we can note the volume of solution. Now we have a relation density is equal to mass per unit volume. So we can calculate the mass of solution if we know the density of solution. So we have to note the density of solution which is carried out independently by some other methods. We can use some device to calculate density of solution. Now from density and volume we can measure the weight of solution. So we know the weight of solute, so we can calculate the weight of solvent. Weight of solvent is weight of solution minus weight of solute. But with this method, some changes has been given by Porter's method, in which he has make modifications in this unit which are shown here. So this is another modification. By using these modified instruments, the measurements of elevation in boiling points were measured accurately. So this was all about elevation in boiling point. In our next lecture, we will discuss the next colligative property, which is depression in freezing point. I hope you like this lecture. So if you have liked this lecture, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.